Life in three, two, go.
Good morning, beautiful Huddleites. Rawlin Vanatta here with Mr. Vince Rountree. And today we're going to talk about the single biggest lie that stops fat from falling off your body. And guess what? It has nothing to do with food. Let's start that.
Good morning, Daily Huddle, good morning, Facebook, good morning to each and every one of you that has made the decision to join us today here on the Daily Huddle. I am excited, I am happy because we are here with you and you are with us. My name is Vince Rountree and my co-host name is Rawlin Vanatta. And we together are the co-hosts of the Health, Wellness, and Vitality Show. Today, we're going to talk about weight loss. We're going to talk about things that will help weight to just fall off your body. Something we know a little bit about that we see every week on our coaching program. And we're going to share some of that information with you. But before we get to that, we have a couple of questions, and I want to go to Andrea Villa. How are you this morning, Andrea?
Hi, Vince. I am the way I say I am, and today I am strong to recover. Let's do that.
You are the way you say you are, and you are strong. How powerful is that you actually have the power to be the way that you say you are? In other words, you're in control. You are in control. I love it. And today,
hey, since that's strong, can we get a growl from you, Andrea? Like a strong growl?
Absolutely not.
Now.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I love it. Okay. And let's see. Next, let's go to Miss Rashida. Rashida, thank you for joining us this morning. Rashida, could you tell me what time it is this morning?
The time is now, and the time is being in the universe, and especially in the universe mind and setting.
That's what I'm talking about. The time is now. It is now. You are the way you say you are. And last and never least, so Miss Dell, let's see, I'm not sure if that is from, is it Layla or is it Leja? Because it just depends if the origin of the name, and I'm not sure of the origin. Is it Layla or is it Leja?
It's Lela, like Della and Stella, my sisters, Lela.
Lela, got it. Lela, thank you so much for giving me the correct pronunciation. Because
so neither one of them, Vince. You were wrong on both accounts.
Exactly. So maybe next time I'll just say I have no clue. And but where are you, Lela?
I am in Hamlet, North Carolina. I'm 1 mile from the South Carolina border.
How about that? 1 mile from the South Carolina border, and you are right where you are supposed to be. That's where you're supposed to be, isn't it?
That's where I'm supposed to be.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much for helping us out this morning, Lela. All right. Well, let's go to Rawlin. Why don't you kick us off this morning,
all right.
my friend and my partner?
Okay, so I'm going to expose a lie. Now, what we're going to talk about today is going to be just slightly countercultural. Okay, and so get ready for it. Let receive it. Get ready for it. Okay, because here's something that blocks people and keeps fat from falling off all the time. Okay, and here it is. Everything's good in balance. Everything in moderation. Everything in balance. And here's the truth, right? Everything is not okay in moderation. Let me explain what I mean. Okay, you have a 3-year-old toddler. Do you let them play out in the middle of the highway in moderation? Right? Right? Do you let them play out in the middle of the road in moderation? Okay. Let's say you got a bottle of some kind of a beverage that you got, and you know that it's laced with cyanide. Okay, so it's laced with cyanide. Is it okay in moderation? Is it okay in balance? Just everything in balance, a little
Just
bit
a little
of
bit
water,
won't hurt.
a little bit of cyanide, right? It's like, what? Okay, so let's think about this. If those things, right? Okay, so I think that I am just going to drive on the road sometimes, but about in moderation, I'm going to drive on the side of the road, like in the middle of the grass and the woods and the trees. It's all in moderation, right? It's like, no, when you drive, you need boundaries that you don't cross. If there's a double yellow line, guess what? It's very dangerous to go on the other side and start driving on the other side of the double yellow line, right? Everybody picking up what I'm putting down? Now, here's the deal. Everything is okay in the season, right? Like, so a little kid, for example, can know and understand when it's okay to cross the street after they're an adult, but not when they're a kid. They just don't get that yet, right? And so here's the deal. When it comes to weight loss and fat falling off your body, how many people have said these words? Yeah, I'm trying to lose some weight. Anybody ever heard themselves kind of say that to themselves? Yeah, I'm going to try that for a while. I'm going to try. Well, see, when you say the words try, what you didn't make is a decision. What's a decision? You go back from the Latin root of the word decision. It is the word, it's to cut off from. So incision is to cut into. Decision is to cut away from. So if you want to see what happens, people's like, okay, I'm going to start eating whole food plant-based. I'm going to do what Rawlin and Vince talk about all the time. I'm going to start eating below the red line. I'm going to try that for a while. And then the birthday comes, and then the Thanksgiving comes, and the celebrations, and the church dinners, and the family reunions, and the nieces and nephews' birthdays, right? You're right. And it's, oh man, I've been up. I'm just going to whip through this fast food restaurant. Like, yeah, I'll just get some fries. I won't even get the meat. I'm just going to get some fries. Right? Because it's fast, it's easy. I hadn't eaten anything all day. I'm traveling in this airport. There ain't nothing to eat. Right? I'm just
and the Impossible Burger is vegan.
Exactly. Oh, look, plant-based cheese.
It's
Plant-based
vegan.
butter. It's vegan. It's fine.
Vegan.
Right? Oreos. Look, Oreos. They're vegan.
They're vegan.
They're vegan.
They ain't that bad.
Y'all hear what I'm saying? And we let ourselves never make a decision, never truly make a decision. And the one thing, the single biggest thing that people are missing when they decide to make a change, is what we call your why. Now, a lot of people has heard about your why. Yeah, like find a good why. And most people, I'm going to ask Vince. I'm going to ask Vince to share his why. That's what I'm going to do. He says no. We'll see.
Well, you know what? I'm going to share it, but I'm not going to.
You're not going to go into the dips. Yeah. He's not going to go into the crushing. He's not gonna. Gotcha. All right, cool. So let me set you up real quick before you jump in, Vince.
All right.
So here's the deal. Most people, when they think about their why, right? Like, why am I going to lose weight? Why am I going to get healthy? Why am I going to start eating below the red line? Why am I going to do these things? When people start thinking why, first of all, they're like, I have some pain. I want to lose some weight. I was on the phone with someone one time, and she was about to be a client, and asked her why she wanted to do this. And she told me, well, she'd always been a little overweight. She didn't like the way she looked in the mirror, things like that. She didn't like the size that she, of clothes she had, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, yeah, but really why? And we talked about it for a few minutes, and it came down to the fact that she said she did not feel sexy in front of her husband anymore. And she was young enough that she still wanted to feel sexy. That's what she told me. But it took her a while to kind of actually admit that. But that's what was needed. Because then if she decided to make the bad decision, it wasn't making, oh, well, it's just this little thing. Instead, it was, I'm either going to be able to look sexy or I'm going to eat this donut, right? And the desire to look sexy far outweighed the desire for the temporary taste of that jelly-filled donut, right? Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Right? If you understand how to correctly assess the cost of your situation based on your why, you can't lose. You can't lose. But most people say, they compare it against, well, I'm not going to be able to have the taste or I'm going to be able to have the taste. That's the only two things they're comparing. They're not comparing it against the why they desire for the transformation. So I asked Vince a long time ago, I said, Vince, what got you so into this? What got you so into it? How did this happen to you? What made you go spend tens and tens of thousands of dollars studying this, learning this, and then like dedicating your life to sharing this information? And why are you so frustrated when people can't? What was it that kept you? Yeah, I know you wanted to lower your cholesterol. Yeah, I know that. But what really was it, Vince? What really was it? Mr. Vince Rountree, can you share with them this?
So I had high cholesterol. I was really bothered that I went into my regular annual physical, and the doctor's like, well, you got high cholesterol, high blood pressure. This happened in 2011. And I knew that high cholesterol meant you at an elevated risk of a heart attack. And, I've been in pretty good shape and worked out, and I thought that I'm good. Like my physicals were always, everything's good. See you next year. Everything's good. See you next year. Everything's good. See you next year. And I did not like the fact that he said, well, right now you got high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and the blood pressure wasn't high enough for pills, but the cholesterol was. And he wrote me this prescription. And I'm looking at this prescription for these statins. And I knew that I was at a fork in the road. I'm going to go down this path of taking a pill every day for the rest of my life. Now, millions of people do it. Millions of people do it like it's nothing. You got to take these pills. Okay. Or is there a better way? And somehow I believed deep in my soul that I was not created in such a way that I would need to take a pill. So I had to find out, what else could I do? I asked my doctor, what else can I do other than take this pill? His answer was, it runs in your family. He was right about that. He said, so there's nothing you can do. I didn't believe that. I believed that I could eat something different. And my quest for scientific evidence that showed that something that I could do eating differently would bring it down had me looking. My sister sent me on the right path. because she visited me shortly after that doctor's visit, and we live miles apart. We don't see each other very often, a couple times a year, and we're really, really close. And she was reading a book by Neil Barnard, and she said, and I was reading this book and I couldn't quite believe, and so that got me looking and looking. And I found a YouTube lecture by Dr. Esselstyn, and he talked about reversing heart disease. Our number one killer. 650,000 people die a year from heart disease. Every 36 seconds. The amount of time we've been talking to you right now, about 30 people have died of heart disease. Most of them unnecessarily. Because the Tarahumara Indians, you know how many of them die of heart disease? None. None. How does that not blow you away? Here, it's the number one cause of death. The Tarahumara Indians have none. What do they do differently? They eat plant-based. It's that data that caused Esselstyn to do his experiment. And when he explained his experiment, I did it. And in 6 weeks, my cholesterol went from 240 to 132. The bad cholesterol went from 170, which was horrible. That's what happens when you eat bacon and eggs every other day, by the way. My bad cholesterol went from 170 down to 78 in 6 weeks. And so then okay, so I figured out, and my body told me that eating a whole food plant-based diet can lower my cholesterol. But I'm still in corporate America doing a lot of business travel. And on business travel, you know, you're staying at Marriott's and Hyatt's and stuff like that. And you know, when you stay at a Marriott and you go down for breakfast, there's a man with a tall white hat asking you what you want on your omelet. And he's got cheese, he's got sausage, he's got bacon, he's got all to end, and they're making the omelet nice and fresh, and you smell it. You want it. It was my weakness. And I had to make a decision. Do I want to eat this or do I not? And my answer goes to my daughter. My daughter's mom and I divorced when she was 3 years old, and I was absolutely determined that I would be the best father I could possibly be that's not living with her. And we were together quite frequently. Well, she was a senior in high school, and I was her and still am her rock. She could call on daddy when she needs something. And a year before this elevated glucose level thing, a good friend of mine died in a motorcycle accident. And when I went to his funeral, he was about my age, a little older than me. He was about my age. And when I went to his funeral, his daughter tried to talk at his funeral, and she couldn't do it. Couldn't do it, just overcome with grief. And it was not a dry eye in a church. I mean, it was just such a horrible thing. And when I'm sitting there, now what does that have to do with my decision of what am I going to do? How am I going to respond to this man with a tall white hat asking me what I want in my omelet? Has everything to do with it. Because I looked at this bacon, egg, and cheese omelet. And what I saw was my friend's funeral and his daughter trying to speak. She was overcome with grief. And I saw, if I just eat this bacon, egg, and cheese omelet, which my body wanted, I said, this is going to kill me. And my daughter is going to have to go through trying to speak at my funeral. I can't have that. I can't have that. I can't have that. I no longer have the luxury of eating whatever I want, because now I know I had already stopped and had this unbelievable drop in my cholesterol. And I knew it was because I love bacon and eggs so much. I knew it. And so I had to make the decision. And if the decision is, well, I want my cholesterol to stay down, that's one thing. But if the decision is, what would my daughter say at my funeral? Now, that's a very easy decision. Now, the bacon and eggs, yeah, they smell good, but is it worth putting my daughter through that type of pain? It's not even close. It's not even close. And I've carried that with me from 2011 till today. People talk about moderation. I don't believe in moderation. Dr. Esselstyn has a chapter in his book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. He's got a chapter entitled Moderation Kills. Moderation is the word that gives you an excuse to do whatever the heck you want to do. Everything is okay in moderation. If you stop and just survey people in the street, do you eat a healthy diet? 98% of them say, yeah, I eat healthy. I eat pretty well. And how is that 40% of our population has diabetes or pre-diabetes? How is that? 75 to 80% of us are overweight. Yeah, moderation makes you feel, that word just makes you feel like I can do this, and you can. But will you be as healthy as you can be if you don't? No. So that is my why. You know what, Rawlin? Why don't we open up a little? We got a few minutes. Why don't we see if anybody has any questions for us today and our talk on moderation
let me hop in and say one thing. It'll take me about 15 seconds to tie up what I said and what you said specifically together. The one thing that keeps fat from falling off people is a lack of that decision, the belief in that moderation, and not having a pre-decision. And what I mean by pre-decision is having a decision beforehand. What's your why? And what is the thing you're going to compare every decision moving forward to when it comes to your health, right? You're going to compare it to something. What are you going to compare it to? Well, if you have a strong why, you compare it to that. If it's a strong enough why, there ain't nothing that's more powerful. Because if he says, do I want a piece of sausage, an egg, or an omelet? Or like, if I do that, what's the cost of that? Whether it's true or not, what's the cost of that? Oh, well, my daughter has to give my eulogy because of that. Oh, well, if that's the cost, no way, no thank you. If you can create that binary decision in your mind and it's anchored to something that really matters, there ain't no question at that point in time. Then you don't have to try anymore. The decision was already made long before the opportunity arose for the man with the tall white hat making you your omelet. Right? The decision was made long before that ever happened because you already decided what you're going to compare it against. And that's how you get long-term success when it comes, and long-term transformation in your decision-making ability when it comes to eating. All right, questions?
Or comments or suggestions or talking points.
Or a standing ovation. We'll take a standing ovation too.
Okay, we'll go to
Thank you,
CC
Mr.
and then
Robinson.
Tara. CC, you are up.
Good morning, everybody. Excellent description. Excellent job.
Thank
I wish
you.
I would have met, you're welcome. I wish I would have met you guys 20 years ago. Maybe the transformation would have happened in my life and my family would have caught on. But today I am mostly plant-based by you guys training and encouragement. So I want to thank you so much for saving a lot of people's lives. And I pass.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much. Appreciate that.
Thank you, CC. Thank you. We appreciate you. We thank you for everything that you have done, and glad that you have made the transition. And so happy that that you have learned and made that transformation. Tara, you are up.
You know, I always have questions for you guys. I'm wondering what your opinion is on this question. I have my own opinion, but I wonder what your answer is. Why is it, because I don't think it's willpower, why is it that some people can have a cookie a month or a few French fries and walk away, and some people say, I can't have that stuff even near me because I'll eat the whole bag?
You know, I think that that probably has a lot to do with just behavioral differences. I think it is so important to know yourself. Know yourself. One of the reasons why I never had bacon and eggs since I made this decision was because I know I would not want it once. So I knew my weakness. If I knew that I could eat it like once a month, I probably would, but I would not want it once a month. I love bacon. I mean, I would eat them sometimes for lunch. I would eat them sometimes for dinner. I would go by McDonald's and get bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. I couldn't decide between bacon, egg, and cheese and sausage biscuit with egg. So I got one each. I got one each, unless they had sausage McMuffins for sale, 2 for $1. If they had that, well, then I would get the 2. But I knew that I can't modulate that. So you have to know yourself well enough. Because the truth is, if you eat bacon and eggs once a month, that's not going to hurt you. It really isn't. You know, if you're whole food plant-based and you eat something that infrequently, that's not a problem. It really isn't. But you have to know your weaknesses and respect them. And so I don't know what drives some people to have that type of control, but what I do know is that it is critical to know yourself well enough and respect what you know you are capable of and what you aren't. Go ahead, Rawlin.
I have a thing to add to that. So for me, it's a spirit versus flesh issue. What I mean by that, and some people may be uncomfortable with that language, we'll say mental over physical. So food is formulated, food manufacturers spend millions and millions and millions of dollars figuring out exactly the right chemicals to cause the brain to light up like a Christmas tree. When that happens, and those things touch your tongue, it's, oh my gosh, I want it. Okay. So then the question is, well, how come some people can eat 1 bag and not 10, right? Why is it that one person can say this one chocolate chip cookie and they're fine, and they don't have another and another. And I think it comes back down to what the belief is about the person. So if they believe that they will fall into it, then they will. And if they don't believe, if they believe that they're, enchained to it, then they will be enchained to it. Like, oh man, if I have one of those. So the belief drives the behavior. Belief always drives behavior under all circumstances. It's like if you whether or not you can have the one or not, but that's not based on what actually is. It's based on what you believe about it. Right. And it goes back to that pre-decision. If you pre-decide about something, you got it. If you don't pre-decide about it, you don't got it. Period. If you say, well, I'm going to eat one and then see, well, then you don't know. Right. Right.
Exactly right, Rawlin. That's where I was going to go with my hand raised is I adore crunchy chocolate chip cookies from Walmart. The cheapest, crappiest oatmeal cookies that they make at Walmart. Those are my downfall, right? So I buy the pack of them. It's like $2 for this huge pack of cookies. How can that be good for you? It's horrible. And I put them in a big Ziploc baggie on a big high shelf. And I know that I can eat 2 of those like once every 2 weeks, right? And that's it. I don't have any more of them. And I know I can do it. If I was the one who sat down and ate the whole bag, I would never buy them because I know how horrible they are. It's 130 calories and 2 little cookies about this big. Are you kidding me?
And how long can they live on that shelf?
Well, and they're in a Ziploc bag and they're already crunchy. So, it takes about a year for me to eat a pack of cookies. But I know that like Vince saying he can't drive to the drive-thru at McDonald's. Like if I did that, it would kill me. I wanted a Church's fried chicken leg yesterday. I wanted it so badly I could taste it. And I drove past the Church's fried chicken because my pre-decision is I'm not eating processed fast foods. I'm not going to do it. I went through Wendy's the other day. I drove by the Wendy's like, oh, a double stack with cheese and some fries. Oh, and I drove by because my pre-decision is I want to live to see my great grandchildren. So it doesn't matter what my taste buds want or what my body wants. Exactly. I want to make sure I make it to that point in my life. So great show today, guys. Thanks a lot.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And I'd like to add one more real quick little thing. I read something by a rabbi one time that asked, he posited the question, why did the Hebrews, what was the pragmatic reason for prayer before meals? And it's that, so your animalistic self, right? You put food in front of a bunch of like a pack of dogs. What happens? Right? It's like, that's what happens. Right? And like, when you're hungry and you put food in front of you and nobody's around, what happens? Right? Like that's what happens, right? Like your flesh wants that instant boom, right? What prayer does before meals is it causes you to wait till everybody comes around the table. So you're having to actually rule over your flesh in those moments. Then you're stopping, and then you're thanking God for this opportunity and this food, and you're forcing your flesh to come under subjugation of your spirit. So you're saying wait, and then you don't put your head down into the plate. You take utensils and you lift yourself up. That means the flesh is serving the spirit, not the other way around. You're not lowering your head to the food. You're bringing your food up to service the spirit. So that exercise in and of itself will strengthen that mental discipline when you're in those situations. And it's like a mental muscle that you exercise on a daily basis all the time with every single thing. So when someone takes practice of things like that, what you're doing is you're practicing spirit over flesh, and it ends up giving you a completely different level of control than what you ever had before, because flesh can't control flesh. That's just the way it is, right? A heroin addict don't control his heroin addiction, right? So I hope that's
well. We have gone over as we tend to do. It's been a while since we've gone over, and before I wrap up,
we've been doing good.
You can blame it on me. It's cool. I'm here today, so you can blame it on me.
No, it's where we are. Before we wrap up, I do want to take 1 minute and address in the comment vegan cheese Impossible Burger. I just want to address that very quickly and say this. The healthiest way to eat is eating unprocessed plant-based foods foods that look like they did when they were grown. You know what kale looks like when it's grown. You know what corn looks like. You know what watermelon looks like. You know what apples and peaches and pears and plums, right? We know what brown rice looks like. Beans, lentils, split peas, chickpeas, potatoes. That's the food that creates an environment in your body for health and well-being.
Hey, has anybody dug up an Impossible Burger? Anybody ever dug up an
How do
Impossible
you grow that?
Never.
How do you grow vegan cheese?
Did you see my comment, Vince? I said, look at the ingredients and head to the produce department.
I missed that. I missed that.
Just look at the ingredients and just set it down, head over to the produce department, get some black beans, make your own burgers, okay?
That's exactly right. So because the root of the conversation is eating unprocessed plant-based foods, because that eliminates meat, cheese, dairy, fish, eggs, people think, well, just if it's vegan, it's good. No! What if we had a diet full of cotton candy, soda pop, Oreo cookies, and jelly beans and Skittles? What if that's all you ate? That's all vegan. No, a vegan diet is not the goal. The goal is to eat food that looked like it did when it was grown. That's where health is. There's many unhealthy vegan foods. So our goal is not just vegan. All right, now we're way over. I just wanted to say that because there were a couple of comments on, and I am going to, is there blood flavoring?
Okay, y'all take care. We'll see y'all later. We can wrap it up because Vince won't stop answering questions and people's going to keep doing it. We love you. We'll see you next week.
And that happens during our coach, so we can't end. Listen, you've only got one body in this lifetime. You've only got one body. If you mess it up, where are you going to live? You've only got one body. Eat as though your life depends on it, because it does. My name is Vince Rountree. My co-host is Rawlin Vanatta. We thank you for joining the Daily Huddle. Lisette, roll the outro.
I got one of those.